Have you ever typed something like, how to build a millionaire mindset into Google? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. It's a huge question for anyone trying to build a better financial future. And you almost always land on the same list of books.
You know the ones I'm talking about, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Atomic Habits, The Millionaire Next Door. They're all considered classics for a reason. But let's be real. Who has the time to read every single one when you're ready to get started right now? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We've boiled down the absolute core lessons into one 5-step journey. We're calling it the Builder's Journey. And it all starts not with a single dollar, but with the blueprint that's already inside your head.
Okay, step 1, your financial blueprint. Think about it. Before you lay a single brick on a construction site, what do you need? A plan, a blueprint. And in the world of money, that plan is your internal design, and it controls everything you build on the outside.
This quote from T. Harv Eker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind absolutely nails it. He basically argues that your financial success, or your lack of it, has very little to do with luck or the economy. Nope, it's just a printout of what's already programmed inside of you.
Aker has this great analogy. He says we all have a financial thermostat that's set to a specific temperature. If your thermostat is set for, say, $50,000 a year, you'll struggle to ever have $1 million. Even if you win the lottery and the temperature shoots up, that internal thermostat will eventually kick in and drag you right back down to what you're subconsciously comfortable with.
So where does this blueprint come from? Well, it was mostly created without you even realizing it. It's from all the things you heard about money when you were a kid, how you saw your parents deal with it, and any big financial moments you went through. So you really have to stop and ask yourself, what is my blueprint set for?
So, you've got your blueprint. Now it's time to pour the foundation. You know, these huge, incredible buildings aren't built in a single day with some grand gesture. They're built brick by brick, with thousands of tiny, consistent actions. And this brings us straight to James Clear's incredible book, Atomic Habits. The whole message of the book is that tiny changes, we're talking 1% improvements, can lead to some truly unbelievable results over time. He tells this amazing story about the British cycling team. For almost a century, they were just, okay, pretty average. Then this new guy, Dave Brailsforth, comes in as performance director with a crazy simple idea: improve everything by just 1%. And I mean everything. They made the bike seats a little more comfortable, they tested different tires for better grip, they even figured out which pillows gave the athletes the best night's sleep. Now, on their own, these changes were almost unnoticeable, but together, they compounded. Within a decade, that team completely dominated the sport, winning 178 world championships and 5 Tour de France titles. It was insane.
And here's where it all connects back to your money. Clear says habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Those small financial habits you start building today, like saving an extra $50 or setting up an automatic investment, those are the tiny little bricks that multiply and build massive wealth down the road.
This right here might be the single most powerful line in the entire book. Stop focusing on a goal like, I want to be a millionaire. Instead, you have to focus on building a system of habits that makes becoming wealthy almost inevitable. You know, winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. It's the systems that make all the difference. Okay, so the blueprint is clear, and the foundation of good habits is poured. It's time to put up the main pillars of your financial house. And to do that, you have to understand one of the most fundamental rules of money. And this is the core lesson from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's so simple, but it is life-changing. Assets put money into your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. The wealthy spend their lives buying assets. Everybody else spends their lives buying liabilities that they think are assets. It's a huge difference. So, how do people get enough assets to actually become millionaires? Well, the book The Millionaire Next Door gives us a really fascinating clue. It's not about having some high-powered fancy job. It's about owning the system itself. Just let that sink in for a second. We tend to think of millionaires as doctors or lawyers with huge salaries, but the data shows that 2/3 of them are actually business owners. They don't just earn a big income, they build an asset. This is proof that owning equity, whether it's in your own company or just owning stocks, is the clearest path to building those pillars of wealth. So the pillars are up, the structure is really taking shape, but any good builder knows you cannot rush this part. A solid building needs time to settle, to strengthen, and that's all about the power of patience.
This leads us to one of the most famous psychological studies of all time, the marshmallow experiment. It's all about a little something called delayed gratification, and it's key to understanding success.
The choice they gave these kids was super simple. You can have this one marshmallow right now, no problem. Or if you can just wait 15 minutes without eating it, you'll get 2 marshmallows as a reward.
And the results, years later, were just incredible. The researchers followed up with these kids and found that the ones who had the discipline to wait for that bigger reward, well, they grew up to be more successful in pretty much every way you can measure. They just intuitively understood that patience pays off.
This is the financial version of waiting for that second marshmallow. If we assume a pretty average stock market return, a single $10,000 investment in your 20s can grow to over $70,000 by the time you're 60 without you adding another penny. That's the magic of compound interest. You just have to let the structure settle. You have to be willing to play the long game.
All right, we've made it to the final stage of the build, the inspection. This is where you, as the master builder, you have to step back and develop your own personal philosophy. You can't just copy someone else's blueprint forever.
And this advice is so important. No single book, no single guru has all the answers for you. The real goal is to collect the best tools from each one and then build your own personal financial philosophy that works for your life.
For instance, let's go back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. While it taught millions of people about assets, it's also got some heavy criticism. People have pointed out that the Rich Dad story is probably made up, that the advice can be really vague, and that it's been used to push people into expensive seminars and even some questionable multi-level marketing businesses. Now, knowing this doesn't mean the core lesson is worthless, but it does mean you have to think for yourself.
And that's it. The build is complete. You have the blueprint for your mindset, you've got the foundation of habits, you have the pillars of asset ownership, and you know the importance of patience. The only question left is the most important one of all. You're the architect now, so what's the very first brick you're going to lay?